Welcome to the Fractional Show. Today we've got Matt Smith and Shawn McArthur, who are the founders of the Changing Lives Investment Club. And this is not their first rodeo. They've been successful club leaders of two already, and now they're coming back from a third. So I'm just going to get right into it. Matt and Shawn, give us your 60-second elevator pitch. Who are you? What is the Changing Lives Investment Club? And why should someone who's watching even care?
John, go first.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm Shawn McArthur, Sub 2 regional leader, Owners Club. We basically created this to be able to, as the name says, like our company is built around changing lives. And so we want to be able to change the lives of not only our investors, but also our tenants and people that we work with. And we love being able to partner with more people. So yeah, that's my quick thing. Matt, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, love it. So my name is Matt Smith. I run a real estate team and have for many years. Our team has sold 650 homes or more every year for the last 5 years. And I've realized like this club started out of necessity for me. From a real estate team leader perspective, our mission is changing lives. We get to help people do that every single day through real estate. In our real estate business, when someone's buying a home, it's the biggest purchase or sale of their lives in many cases, and so that's been our mission for many years. And as I progressed with growing and elevating the development of the agents inside the organization, I realized that they also wanted to change their lives and build wealth through real estate. And so I'm like, I think that we could do this. We could create a platform to make it easier to invest. We could help find the deals. We could remove all of the barriers that get in the way of people not investing in real estate to make it easier for them to invest, make it a more passive investment, and educate and inform them on how to do it and change their lives through real estate in a different way. And so that's where Changing Lives Investment Club was born.
That is powerful. I love how in literally every segment of what you guys are touching, whether, it's the properties you're buying, the tenants that are coming in, the investors, right, who get to be partners in this, it's like you are impacting them and you are changing their lives. And that's why, the club name is so big and it hits home every single time. And another really great point is, you guys are a powerful duo. So I want to learn, what is your individual superpower and how does that come together to make Changing Lives the most impactful club ever?
Great question. Yeah. So my role really is the real estate. So like that's all I do as far as the investing. So that's really kind of my superpower is being able to structure these deals. We love to find creative deals if we can. We don't always, but really our biggest thing is make sure our operationally that we're excellent. We're underwriting these very correctly, but also very conservatively. We know as the markets change that people have kind of lost a lot and when the market's changing. So we want to make sure and underwrite these very conservatively to protect not only all of our investors, but these projects themselves. We want to make sure we're getting into them at the right way. So that's kind of my superpower and what we do. And then Matt, if you want to go into yours as well.
Yeah, and I'll also brag on Sean a little bit. Sean is he served us in the military for several years. He actually how Sean and I got connected. He was a client. He was looking for investment deals when he was stationed in one of our markets that we serve, and he loved what we did so much. He's like, I love this. I want to be a part of it. And honestly, he started stalking us so much on social media that I told the agent he was working with, I'm like, who is this guy? I need to meet him. Let's take him to lunch. I want to get to know him. And then from there, just got to know the amazing human that Sean is and the passion that he has for investing. And he had already immersed himself in being an investor himself. He put himself in the right rooms by learning from people like Stella and a lot of the rooms that you guys are in. He's now and really close in the Pace Morby stuff with what he's doing there, and just the education that he brings to it is really really a good combination for what I feel my superpower is. I'm just a the best analogy I have is I'm a bulldozer. I will knock trees down. I will move mountains. I will make things happen. And I have a big, big vision for people's lives and impacting the lives of people. And Sean kind of helps behind the scenes as I'm mowing over trees. He's making sure that they're placed nice and neatly and that we're operationally excellent behind the scenes. And it works out really, really well. I think it's a very unique combination to have both of us doing it together, and we're aligned in our values and the mission and why we are doing it. And it's just really cool to see the really quickly. I mean, we started this like 3 years ago, and there's been 3 years of work behind the scenes that people don't see to get to where we are today. Because I think we've done 2 other deals, but we kind of slowed down because as we did those deals, we wanted to ensure we were operationally excellent. Before we go out and we start messing with other people's money and different things, we wanted to ensure that our I's were dotted, our T's were crossed, and we wanted to be proven operators before we bring deals to the table. And I don't know if we're going to dive into it, but I'm very, very happy with the results of the other deals that we've had. We've literally hit our targets in 12 months that we had for 36 months with both of the other properties.
That is incredible. And I've got to say, I am a personal investor in the previous club. So I am one very, very happy investor. So super proud of everything that you both have accomplished. And I love how complimentary you guys are. And at the same time, there is that same amount of grit and dedication and commitment that you both have towards doing something. And Matt, speaking of, your point where you said Shawn, has the military background, right? That brings me next to my next question, where this time for what you guys are targeting for your buy box, I know the multifamily is near a military market. You're
Mm-hmm.
targeting value add. Walk me through, why did you pick that specific criteria?
Yeah, so I'll start off here. So the number one is like you learn this in real estate, and through my experience, I mean, I've sold over 5,500 homes in my career, and so I've learned a lot about real estate, and a lot of that has been investing in different things as well. And I mean, there's 3 things you look for in any real estate deal. It's location, 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 right? If you don't, you can have the best asset in a terrible location, and it doesn't turn out to be a great asset. And so what is really cool about this particular deal, it is literally like you can't get much closer to a military base than it is. It's very well positioned. It's right next to an interstate. It's right next to everything that the city has to offer, and it's right next to a military base, which a lot of the military in the area that this is in live off base. And what is really cool about it is the military gives these individuals an allowance for housing. And so essentially, because for their service, the government will give them extra money to live off of base. And so it really makes the occupancy of the asset is through the roof. We have other assets that we have in the area, and we know the market really, really well. It's where we've served for real estate for 12 plus years now. And so it's in our backyard, but it's also in a very stable real estate market that has that strong military base. I mean, the occupancy for this property has been 98% over the last 12 months. And so it's just a really, really strong asset.
And Shawn, your background, right? Like that's gotta give you a lot of competitive advantage when it comes to understanding this market. What do you feel like about this market, this tenant space that, just a normal civilian operator like myself would never know?
I think it's two things. So one, love to get back to military. I mean, as far as on my real estate agent side of things, it's pretty much all I serve now is either investors and looking for our investments for our clubs and our opportunities, or helping other veterans. And so that was a big piece of it. It was the emotional tie too, and the mission of being able to change lives. But on the tactical side of it, as far as like this thing still has to, do really well, be profitable for our investors and for this project. These military markets, we have a very, very consistent base. And like Matt said, it's been over 98% occupied the last 12 months. But if you zoom out even further, they haven't dropped below 94% occupancy for the last 3 to 4 years. And so it's not that it's like, hey, they've had a great year, can improve rents. This thing has stayed very consistently occupied. And military, just like any sort of government program, they pay the rents, and we actually have a little bit of in. We can actually, if they don't pay the rents, we can actually go to their chain of command, which a lot of them don't necessarily know. But I know I used to be a captain in the military. People can go to their chain of command and say, "Hey, you're not paying your rent. The government's giving you rent money. Where's it going?" And we can really. There's a lot of things we can do with that to be able to make sure. And just, honestly, they're just very, very. They typically are very great tenants. They don't really destroy things. They're very respectable. And as we grew up in the military, taking care of what we're given the opportunity to have. And so they typically take really, really good care of their property. They're very neat and tidy. And so we very rarely have issues with any of our military tenants.
That's fantastic. And, what do you feel like has been the major, difference, right, between all the deals that you guys have coming across your desk. I mean, first of all, how many deals are you guys looking at before, you said this is the one?
Right now, I think we're at 30 to 40 to even like LOI. And this one specifically, we've been working on this one for over 12 months. So it wasn't like, hey, we saw the property, we're gonna write an offer, and no matter what they say, we're taking it. Like Matt and I know, like Matt knows I think we had 6 different counters on this one, and we said no, this is our number, and we're not changing from it. And so it was a year of us negotiating back and forth to get to this number because one, we love the asset, but Matt says it all the time, and I learned from him too on that. It's like you don't make money when you sell, you make it when you buy. And so we've hammered that home, and Matt, you can go into that a little bit more as well. But we spent a lot of time working on this deal.
Yeah, 100% is that I number one as an investor myself is that I work extremely hard for my money, as does everyone else that invests. And we want to make sure that we are protecting the money and multiplying the money, not just throwing it down the drain, right? And that's the whole goal of investing. And so we are very meticulous, and we have looked at probably 100 plus deals, and we have gotten to the LOI at 30 to 40 deals that I know of for sure, that we've offered on. And this is only the third that we're at this point, which means that why I say that, it doesn't mean that we're not good at our jobs. It means that we are very particular at the assets that we choose. We're not just buying to buy, we're buying to buy the right assets at the right numbers that make sense for us and for the investors that invest with us. And I think that that is a crucial difference in some of the people that I've seen in the space. And everyone has their own strategy, right? And everyone is, I know a lot of people are doing really, really well, but this is a strategy that I think is going to build long-term wealth, which is what we are all about. Is like, we want you to make a return on your money day one, right? Like, we want it to be cash flow positive. We also want it to have upside potential. Like, how can we grow the money, multiply it? And also, if it can be a tax strategy vehicle to lower your tax liability at the same time, you just make money in so many different ways if you do this correctly. But I want to be clear, is like, this asset is cash flowing a lot on day one, right? Like, we're not buying this property hoping that we can make things improve. Number one, we have a track record that we can, and we know what that looks like, and we have a very clear plan for that. But even if that doesn't come to fruition, which it will, it's still a very good asset.
Absolutely. I love how methodical you both are just around, how you're negotiating, what you're even buying, how do you even do the value add, right? Like, it is so meaningful that you're very selective, right, on what you actually make moves on. And I would love to understand this as an operator. Where are you getting your deal flow right now?
Great question. So, honestly, a lot of it is just deal searching. So, we're getting a lot of deals sent to us. That's been a big thing, is being a regional leader, and just the more you're in the space and the more you're trusted and seen as the expert, people also, if they when they know, like Matt and I talk about all the time, it's kind of going back to the core values thing. When they know your character is really good, they know you're going to take care of people and do the right thing. Opportunities just seem to come your way when you're always contributing, giving back. As far as, like, and we just get opportunities sent your way, both literally and figuratively. We just will come across deals. And then on the more tactical side, this one actually found myself on the MLS. Whenever any deals in our local markets come up, I'm always looking at those first thing to see if they're even something we want to look at first. And then outside of that, I'll spend at least 30 minutes to an hour a week looking through on market. Since we're agents, we get a lot of access there. And then also building that trust. We've got a lot of agents now that we work with that know that we'd always do what we say we're going to do. We are do a lot of due diligence on the front end. We have a fix and flip business, and that also is able to drive more leads. And so when we're able to show agents that we're trustworthy and we can close on deals, we kind of typically get opportunities before other people who may not be able to.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
really good. I want to add to that because I agree with everything Shawn said, but I think I can also simplify it. If I were to simplify one thing, it's depth of relationships. We have strategically built relationships both in our local marketplace through our reputation that we have built with our real estate brand, but also I'm privileged to be a coach and a speaker throughout North America, and so I've built relationship with a lot of agents, team leaders, investors in other markets also, and so it's honestly a lot of that does come to us through that. but Shawn and I also are hunters, and we are digging, and we are in the trenches finding them, and no stone left unturned to search every asset that we have to find these deals also.
Amazing. I mean, your network is your net worth, right? And that comes from a deal flow perspective too. So love that. And Matt, I want to double click into something that you said, and Shawn, I believe you mentioned this as well. You guys spent a long time negotiating with the seller because you were really firm, right? I know that you guys are acquiring this at 8.1 when the asking price was 9.1. Like that is a whole $1 million right there, right? Walk me through the process. What made you guys feel like you had leverage to do all this negotiation?
Yeah, so I don't know if we necessarily felt we had leverage. To be honest, I just knew what if I were to buy this asset myself, that is what I would buy it at. And I'm a believer in I think negotiation is an art in itself, right? But I think when it's something like this, I don't negotiate like those people. Like we gave them our first offer. This was our highest and best, take it or leave it. And they thought we were playing the game and back and forth. And 12 months later, it's like we're still at the same price that we offered initially. Because again, the numbers are the numbers. And it's when we're especially like I treat these deals like I was investing 100% of my own money. And what would I want to do? And like we could have secured this deal 6 months ago, but it wouldn't have been as good of as a deal for the investors. And I would rather spend that time, energy, and effort to go find something else, rather than and I also I think for this deal specifically is I know our own market, and the truth be told is there's not a lot of people that have the skills, knowledge in our small marketplace, that do these type of big deals. And so there's not a lot of transactions that happen of this stature, in our marketplace. And so we also had that of like how many other buyers are going to come to our backyard and invest in this deal, unless we are the ones that do it and share it and show them what the real numbers look behind the scenes. And so it's I don't know if Shawn has anything to add to that, but for me, it really just came down to being someone of integrity. Of like this is our highest and best offer. We didn't lowball you. This really is what we think it's worth, or what we're willing to pay, and then just sticking to that, knowing that if it doesn't come to fruition, we're not desperate for a deal. We want to find the right deal for us.
That is such a great mindset to have. And when you guys are doing the projections, I want to understand how you all underwrote the deal, right? Because right now there's legacy tenants in there. You've looked at in-place rents, you've looked at market rents. How do you guys look at, whether that gap is real or, is it wishful thinking to actually get there? How did you, make that realization?
Yeah, and so the way we underwrite, and it's worked really well so far. And we talk about being conservative because as the markets change, we want to make sure we're buying assets that cash flow from day one. And so what we mean by that is we're only buying this thing based off what currently rents are, and that's why our number was our number. A lot of times sellers want us to buy it based off where numbers can be, but that's really
Mm-hmm.
dangerous because it's like selling your car and say, well, I know it's a beat up Toyota Corolla. But if this thing was totally fixed up and vacuumed out, had a new engine, man, this thing would be racing like a Mustang. You're like, well, let me know when you finish it to that and let's talk again. And then we might buy it at that price. And so a lot of times sellers do the same thing. And so we said, I get where the projections are amazing, but we can't tell our investors, hey, sorry, I know we're going to lose money for 2 years, but eventually it'll be there and we're going to pay that top dollar now. And so that's why that was our number. We said, hey, our cash flow needs to be this. We love the upside, especially it's operational. We don't have to go through, make massive, updates to these units. But our number, because we wanted to hit that cash flow number day one. And like, as you see in our other projects, it's exactly the same play we did there. And we're going to keep that playbook running, and, do that as we scale.
Yeah,
That's
really.
my favorite analogy, Shawn. I'm going to steal that one from you. That Toyota Corolla one was so good.
All
Yeah, I
yours.
love that. And I think that we so many times whenever you get into a negotiation, we allow it to become emotional. And this is not an emotional purchase for me. I would love to have the asset, but I only want the asset if it makes sense. If it makes sense for me and it makes sense for the investors. And so I think just removing the emotions from it, there is a ton of upside, and there's a ton of upside that can be done very simply and strategically that we've done on other assets that will make a lot of return for the investors. But I think the property's not doing that right now. We're buying it, like Shawn said, for what it is, not what it could be, right? Now, the what it could be makes it even a better deal, but we're buying the asset for what it is currently. I think that's the best analogy. Like, I mean, I think I'm going to steal that too, Stella. That's a really good analogy, Shawn.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that ultimately ends up protecting all the investors that come on and partner with you guys, right? Because no one wants to say this, but a lot of people have been burned by, investing within the last few years,
Yeah.
especially when people were chasing after these vanity metrics, right? Which are projections, pro forma, what it could be. But, in reality, when that doesn't happen, then, you've made all these emotional decisions up front and it's really hard to come back from that. So I just love you guys' mindset and your entire process on how you do the acquisition. So now I want to talk about, okay, we're going to close on this deal. We've acquired it. What is happening in the first 90 days? Walk me through the operations after closing.
Yeah, so this property, I'll dive into that first. So this property, we've got two really value add plays the reason we love this property. So one, obviously there's some about $50 a unit rent increases we can do across the board, on average, which is for 84 units. I mean, that's a pretty massive jump to the NOI just right there. So, and getting those rents to market, we're the only property in the entire county that every unit has either a garage or a carport in the entire complex. And so and the most closest ones to us are renting for $800 or $900 a month more with garages. And so we know, being very conservative with our underwriting, we are very in a really great spot, which is why they stay so well occupied. And that's kind of our primary one. And the second one is right now the current management is paying a ton in utility expenses, which we did the exact same thing with our Lake of the Ozarks play. We've been slowly, when leases renew, we've been taking those off, and that's just boosting the NOI. And we have not lost a single tenant. We did it on 12 units up there. Every tenant stayed, and we increased rents, and we also had them start paying for their own utilities. And we found that it hasn't been a problem. A lot of times management's afraid, well, if I start having them pay for their own water or their own internet, that they're going to leave. And the fact is that's not really the case. Most tenants expect it. And when they sign their leases, a lot of times they don't even know it's included. And if we just get the water billed back, that's $60,000 a year in NOI just with water. And you include that and you kind of keep that pushing along. And that's just some massive value adds right there. So that's kind of our operational push after close.
That's incredible. And, with that, right, like you're forcing equity, you're bringing a ton of upside. What about the day-to-day operations? Are you guys hiring a property manager to be on site? What are you looking for building that boots on the ground?
Yeah, so we have a management company that is local, that manages 400 plus doors already in the area, that is hiring right now a new employee just for this complex. So it's professionally managed, that is going to manage this complex. That this management company stays 99% occupied for the area, and a lot of the assets aren't as nice as this one. And so they really know what they're doing. And one of the things that I want to just really hit on is you don't hear a lot of investors say this, but I think it's important. Shawn alluded to it earlier. Is I think one of the things that is really, really important is, yes, we want to get the rents to market rent. We want to make sure we get a return. But sometimes you can be too aggressive and push the tenants out. One of the worst things you can do, if you look at pro forma's projections and you actually dive into the numbers and investments, one of the biggest expenses we have is turnover. Because every time that a tenant moves out, it costs you money either in vacancy, repairs, or both, right? And so if we can do that, and we can also show value to the tenant with this new management company, that they also understand the importance of, yes, protect the asset first, but we can do that while also providing an amazing experience for the tenant that is living in the property. And it's just how you actually articulate that and you make them feel like you have their back and you're looking out for their best interests is how we're able to do that on the other properties, and how we'll do that on this one as well.
How many turns did it take you guys to find this property management company?
Shawn?
Matt, go ahead.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, so what's actually funny is the management company I'm actually part owner in. And so it came about through necessity. When we started a real estate company in 2016, our phone rang literally every day saying, hey, can you help me find a rental? Hey, I want to rent my house out. And we would have to refer them to other companies because we were just doing real estate. And it just came to a point where like, and then I would get a call back from the people that were asking for my guidance. And they're like, man, I wish you would have told me that I was going to have this bad experience. And so I just felt out of the person of integrity, I'm like, I need to fill this gap. And so we started a property management company to fill that. And what's crazy is the thing that I found in common with these people that I was getting this feedback from was they felt like there was a lack of integrity in the industry locally. And this is I'm not throwing shade at anyone. There's great operators. This was just the feedback that I had gotten. And so I'm like, I need to create this. And what if we created it with integrity first? And so we literally, our property management company is called Integrity Property Management. You can manage properties with integrity. And so that's like the foundation of where this management company came from. And it's just taken off from there. We've grown to over 400 properties organically without spending any dollars in advertising because people want to work with us, both landlords and tenants, because of how we take care of people and because of how we protect the asset. And so that is a huge upside to this as well, is that I also have influence and say so in the management company. But I'll give you the flip side. Let's say that there's another management company that is better opportunity. I'm not married to using mine. I'm married to using the one that's best for the company. And transparently, Shawn and I have had that conversation, and we need to make sure that we protect the asset over everything.
Yeah,
That's
and I'm not
incredible.
affiliated with it at all, and that's one thing we did say. Sorry, I didn't cut you off, Stella, but we did actually have that conversation when we got into it. We said, hey, listen, like we've had great experience with you so far, but honestly, this asset is our main responsibility, and so we want to interview you just like anyone else. And so we actually had that conversation, and we've had great customer experiences with them. But being able to actually go in and negotiate and all that stuff, and one, they're really open to feedback because we have other property managers that aren't this company with our lake asset and some other different properties that we have that are different asset managers. And the cool thing is, because like Matt said, we do have some say so, is we're able to bring back those things that we've learned that other property managers are doing well. And that was one reason why we decided to stick with them for this property, was they didn't say, nope, we've been doing it this way, we're really well occupied, we're not changing anything. They said, all right, we're open to your feedback, we would love it. We take some really great things that this other company was doing well and kind of meshed it with what they were doing well. And now we have an even better experience, not only for us as landlords, but also now there's an even better experience for these tenants, which is also really, really important to us. And we're really excited for.
Yeah. I mean, you're literally changing lives. You've got the integrity piece, right? Like literally even having this conversation, like that just shows how much you both care, like as operators, to do the right thing that's going to create the most impact. Like that is absolutely phenomenal. And I love how, the company ended up making a hire just to support you guys too, right? Like that shows that you guys are incredibly meaningful business for them, and they want to make sure everything is done right. So yeah, that was honestly, I think, one of the most empowering things that I heard. So love that that's being put in place. So now I want to get into the flip side, right? We talked about all the really high impact, all the powerful reasons why people should be in the club. Real estate also gets pretty real, right? What do you feel like is the worst thing that could go wrong? We're not talking about an unlikely black swan event, but just things that actually keep you both up at night.
Yeah, I'll start here and let Shawn give his perspective. And so let's go back to, I shared the 3 years we've been working on this, and we've been very intentional, and we've been not from theory, from actual managing and doing these, operating these other properties. We learned a lot of lessons, and we learned a lot of things that were a little thing that if we didn't catch it early would become a big thing. And so like some of that is like, let's make sure that, yeah, the numbers make sense, but what about the asset? And so number one, we're doing inspections on all the units, make sure there's nothing hidden, right? Number two is the roofs were replaced in this unit within the last 2 years, maybe the last year. Shawn knows the details for sure.
Yep,
So all of these
2023.
units, yeah, so all of these units have newer roofs. And we are also raising, part of the money we're raising here is, I don't want to go back to an investor and say, hey, we had 10 units that required major repairs at once and we need more money, right? And so one of the things that we are Worst case, I love that question because Shawn and I had this exact conversation. And I said, Shawn, what is the worst thing that could happen? And we brainstormed it. We're like, well, what if all the HVAC units go out and all the units at once? What if? And we played those scenarios and we like, how much capital would we need if that would happen? And so part of what we're raising is CapEx for that what if. And so literally the worst thing that could happen is the HVAC units and every single unit goes out at once and we have the capital to deploy to fix that immediately.
And that's an actual conversation we had with an HVAC people recently. Yeah. And we actually already have bids for 84 HVAC units. Like we know the market changes really quickly, and we know that, who would have thought gas prices had gone up $1, over $1, $2, depending on where you're at, from when we first started underwriting these. And that's why it's so important that we didn't go under contract a year ago at that pie in the sky number, because to be honest, can we have made the numbers work? Possibly. Like, they would have been fine, but who would have expected, prices to go up? Who would have expected interest rates to go down and then go back up? And so that's why it's so important to plan for all these things ahead of time and to underwrite very, very conservatively. I know we're going to probably hit on it to where people are bored of us saying it. It's just super important. It gets really, in these communities, and everybody's super excited. They want to go back out. How many doors do you have? And that's awesome. But I've also seen people have thousands of doors and lose them because they don't operate them very well. And we've been very strategic with how we grew. We went 4, 8, 12, 28 units, 84 units. Like, we've literally have been scaling very intentionally into larger assets because we wanted to make sure that the mistakes we made on 4, 8 units, that's, we're 12 units, we can overcome that. When you're making mistakes on 84 units, 120 units, I mean, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars of mistakes. And so we're very, very intentional with that. So yes, there's always those black swan events that happen. People always need a place to live. And we underwrite this, like Matt said, to have all those CapExes in place and all that stuff in place ahead of time, so that we're not like, oh, we forgot to underwrite for that, now we've got a problem. We're prepared for it. Best case scenario, our investors get an even better return, but we underwrite very, very conservatively so that no matter what, it's still a great project and we're still going to be fine no matter what the market does.
That's incredible. And I love what you said, and I resonate so much with, a lot of folks, especially in the community, right? Like, they have the mindset where they're chasing vanity metrics, but at the end of the day, that doesn't mean anything if, your properties aren't being operated efficiently, right? Things aren't going well. And that ultimately, to an investor, is what they truly care about. Are we doing the right moves? Are we picking the right deals? Have we considered all the good, bad, and ugly so that we're ready and prepared for all that? And just the amount of transparency and just, you guys thinking through it all, like, that is, it means so much as an end investor, where they know, right? Like, in any sort of roller coaster that comes, we're prepared as a team to handle that, which is why, I think you both have seen so much success in all of your projects so far. And, you've already had 2 very successful oversubscribed clubs on fractional, right? So I want to learn more about, who's been the largest investor that's invested with you. Describe who they are. Why do you feel like they invested?
Yeah, so we to be honest, the first fractional club that we did, it was exclusive just to our real estate team because that's why it started. And we wanted to give them first shot, and we oversubscribed it with just them, which was really, really cool. The next one, we had several people from several other states, both in my network, people that Shawn knows, and people from the fractional community that invested with us. And with this one, we have attracted some really, really big players. And it's not finalized yet, but I reached out, but when we were in LOI with this deal, I reached out to a couple of my connections and shared with them the deals, and they I literally had, so we're raising how much capital are we raising for this one, Shawn? Do you remember?
A little over 3 million, about 3.1.
3.1. I had 3.6 soft, like, people that said like soft commitments of like, hey, within 3 phone calls, which was really, really cool to see. And so it just gave me the confidence that if we find the right deal, there are people that are looking for them to invest in it. So I don't know if Shawn has anything to add, but that's my perspective.
Yeah, 100%. And it's the right people. And we opened this up to our team first, and we told them recently, say, hey guys, like if you want to invest in this, we need to get your commitments in right now because we have people that might fill it. And if you're watching this and it hasn't filled up yet, like if you want to get a spot in, you need to make sure you do it soon because we do have people that are coming that will fill up whatever's left. And so that we obviously we'd love to have, as big investors as we can, but one of the awesome things and why we love fractional is that we're able to have people to be able to invest that wouldn't be able to invest in their own projects. And so as much as we want it filled, and we know we will, and we would love to have one or two massive investors come in and fill it up, we do want to make sure that we also kept slots for the team and for people who would love to invest in real estate and own a massive asset and be able to drive by it and have equity and own this asset, but they couldn't do one on their own. And so that's, again, like we talked about earlier, it's why we started. And that's what's been really, really important to us. And that's why we've tried to do these, these launches and these openings in phases. So that way we can, as many people as we can get in there, we can. And so that's super awesome. And we'll have more clubs after this too, but this asset we know is a killer. But if we oversubscribe, we know we have other deals in the pipeline that we're going to make sure we have for people to be able to give people great assets and continue our playbook of changing lives into the future.
Love it. Is there anything specifically about, someone's personal goals or their financial goals? I know, Matt, earlier you mentioned, tax, right, as something that could be a really great fit. Where do you feel like there's a ton of alignment where if someone's in that situation, they should definitely say yes to this?
Yeah, so I think honestly, I think it covers a wide variety. Here's what I tell people, Stella, is this is not a get rich quick, this is a get rich for sure. And so I think there's a big difference in the two. And I think that what I have found is that the wealthier the person, the more they see the advantages of things like this. And the people who maybe are on their way to more wealth are the ones that are like, well, I can make more money doing this. I'm like, well, why aren't you doing that? Right. And so it's just like we always have this what if, or I could do a flip, or I could do this. And I'm like, well, do you realize the tax implications with that? It's like at the end of that, the time, energy, and effort, what is the actual return? And this offers like the people that invest with us, you have ownership rights and you have voting rights, but also you can be passive if you would like. And it just allows them to literally just invest and to get the upside return. And so, number one, there's quarterly distributions for every investor. There is also, we are going to do a cost segregation study. And so there will be bonus depreciation for everyone that invests. And so there's also upside of, this is the really cool part. And I just want to mention this so people understand, like when we're talking about we're playing the long game here, our 3-year plan for our first 12 unit that we purchased was to do a cash out refi in 3 years and get investors 100% of the money back. We have a estimate from a lender right now that does that within the first 12 months. We were going to do it. We were going to put it to a vote, but then rates jumped a little bit. And so it went up like a quarter of a point. And so we're like, let's pause and see what happens. But we were able to do that just through operation in the first 12 months that we projected would be 36. And so we have the second asset, the 24 unit that we raised for through fractional. We just did some projections and we bought it for 1.4 million based upon the cap rate that it appraised for when we purchased it. With the new NOI, we have increased the value of $1 million on that property in 12 months. And so like these are things that like you can't, I don't want to say you can't. It is very challenging to do these things when you don't have the economies of scale financially. You get to make money, your money appreciates, someone else is paying down the asset for you. You get to write off, in many cases, write off more money than you invested from your taxes. And the exit strategy, depending on what you choose, if you do a cash out refi, that exit strategy, that is tax-free income as well. And so it's just like you make money so many ways, which is why I think it works for the little guy and also for the big guy. One of the things that I've been really sharing with people is that like wealthy people just think differently. And if you want to become wealthy, you have to start thinking as if you were a wealthy person or you will never be wealthy. And wealthy people understand these things, which is why in those 3 phone calls, they're like, I want it. Because they have the money and they understand like the mindset of people that say like, hey, you have to have money to make money. You don't have to, but it does help. And it's by doing things like this. It's by investing in appreciating assets that allow you to have a paper write-off on taxes that also allow you an avenue and exit that you can make money tax free. It's just winning everywhere, which is why Shawn and I are investing so much time in this for other people, is because we see the upside in the lives that we're going to be able to change.
Absolutely. And that is such a massive win. Like, I'm so happy that I got to be a part of that club because now I'm winning through that too. So that is freaking epic. And, we've been talking about taxes, right? Which then leads me to my next question. Obviously, people can join the club as an individual. If they've got an LLC that they use for investing, that's great too. What are some other, great creative strategies that people could use to get in onto the club?
Yeah, there's so many, and one of the really powerful ones, and Fractional makes it super easy, which is why we've loved partnering with you and the team. One, Stella, the team is absolutely amazing. They do such great work, and thank you for putting that together. Like it's difficult to build good teams. Like Matt knows, it's very difficult, and so they've done an amazing job, and they all really care. And so there's some amazing ways through like 401ks, self-directed IRAs. There's some really awesome strategies that honestly are not super easy, but Fractional makes them super easy to be able to invest in these deals. So if you have your money sitting in some stock account or some IRA that's sitting there, and especially with the stock market, I don't know if people have been seeing it over the last 12 months, it's not always the most friendly thing in the world. And so if you're able to kind of take control of your future with your retirement, Fractional makes it super easy to be able to invest in deals like these with those and be able to take control and pick the assets you want, not have some guy somewhere or some girl in some office who's deciding where they want to invest your retirement. Pick where you want to put your retirement. It doesn't have to be our project, but Fractional makes it really easy to be able to invest and be able to choose where you put your investments.
Yeah, seriously. I'm going to share my personal story here. I had an old 401k with an old employer and I totally forgot it existed until recently. I went in there and checked like that was not investing in anything at all. Like it was just sitting there like doing literally nothing. And I'm like, how did I miss that? And then I immediately roll that over to a self-directed IRA and I'm now going to put it into, a club on fractional, right? So definitely, right? Like if you're short on liquid cash, like look at your 401k, look at your self-directed IRA, right? Those are all great places to join the club. And Matt, I know you said, right, the first club, it was all your agents and I've gotten distributions in the club that I'm in too. And that was like such a feel good moment. What did your agents say to you when they started getting those distributions?
So transparently, a couple of them said, "Oh, I thought it would be more than this." I'm like, "You invested $10,000, and this is a quarterly distribution. Like, let's reset the expectations." But then when I shared the longer, hey, the cash out refi as an example, or the $1 million in equity add, the tax savings, and they actually got to see not just their distribution check where they're like, I made this." It's like, no, this is a portion of what this is turning into. And once I was able to unpack that and share that, they're like speechless, like life changing. Like I should have invested more. Like we're gonna have more. You should. And so it's really cool whenever you can help educate and inform someone the impact that things like this can have on their wealth and their future. To see that like that aha moment that they have, it's like it literally just gives me goosebumps just thinking about those conversations that I got to have with these human beings that I love and would do anything for, and like getting to see them actually build wealth through what we're doing is there's not much like in the world. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and real quick
absolutely.
too, like those checks they talk about, it's like they say that, but then you're like, but compared to what? Like, put that if they have that 10,000 in their bank account, they just made 3 cents in the last like 3 years, and so
Yeah.
sometimes we get these, and it's just what are you comparing it to? And so when you break it down that way, they like, oh yeah, you're right. Like Stella, you cited that 401k, it's been sitting doing nothing. People have been having in their bank accounts, they've made 9 cents and 0.01% interest. And then they go, oh yeah, you're right. Actually, this is a really great return. And so we just have to reframe it. And that doesn't include taxes and all that stuff. You just reframe it and they go, oh yeah, turn out this is actually an awesome return. These are great distributions. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
So
Love it. And I love what you guys both said about the education, right? And that is a big part of why you guys have created the club too. It's like,
Mhm.
hey, obviously we're here to build wealth and make money, but there's more to that, right? Tell us about that part.
Yeah, so for
yeah,
me, that is like near and dear to my heart is that I'm very blessed to live the life that I get to live today. And I just feel it's a responsibility for me to give back the education that I've learned to others. Just be a vessel. Like people have poured into me to help me learn the things that I've learned. Like I'm not going to waste that. And I'm going to pass that along. And I know that like contribution is everything. Is I want to contribute positively to the lives of others. And I think so many people don't understand the opportunity they have in things like this, the opportunities that like fractional and these clubs and different investing in these things can change your life. But most people are, they just don't understand it. And so rather than just, yes, we want to work with the investors that do understand it. But part of Shawn and I's strategy that's like our heart in this is we want to help people if it's their first time investing. Maybe they just want to watch along and they come to the Zooms and they learn about it so that 12 months from now, 36 months from now, when they save enough money, they can do it too, even if it's not with us, because they understand the impact that it can have. And for me, that's one of the passions of this for me is the how can we educate and inform people the opportunity that they have, because school doesn't teach it, society doesn't teach it. Somebody needs to teach people that there is a better way. There is a way to create wealth. There is a way to reduce your tax burden. There is a way for you to actually invest in things that both make you money and save you money at the same
Yeah, I'm super
Incredible.
excited for all the educational pieces we've got coming out too, and one of the cool things is you're able to earn like while you're learning, and that's just blows my mind. I mean, I know I've spent a lot of money on communities, and all of them are amazing, but I know people that go out and they'll buy a course here and a course there and never use it. Like, the cool thing with this is you're able to invest into something and you're getting all these benefits just like anyone else, but you're also able to learn, which even, funds and some of these things, you're not learning anything. You put your money in a fund and then hopefully you'll hear back from them maybe in 3 or 4 years. Maybe you might have an investor call where they go over really high level stuff that honestly tells you nothing about the day to day operations. The cool thing with these is we have monthly, every single month, we're doing updates. We're going to be doing more weekly updates, quarterly live Q&As. I mean, how many funds can you jump into and literally get on a call once a quarter with the fund leaders and ask them what's going on, where are we going? That's very rare if ever. And then also we're really excited about some really cool educational things we're going to be launching to our club soon too, and some exclusive things we have to club members. Just a lot of really cool things we're working on to be able to provide more education for people that want to. If they want to be mostly passive partners, totally fine. We've got people that we really never hear from except other than a thumbs up when they got their cool distribution check. But we have others who really want to learn this process and want to own their own asset someday and operate. Maybe they end up not wanting to, which is great too. Invest into it, learn it, and realize how much work there is. And sometimes people don't want to do it later on, but they can actually learn behind the scenes while they're also investing in these projects.
Absolutely. I mean, operating this it is a business in itself, right? And for me, it's like I would love to be a part of it. I would like to be almost like a board of directors, right, with you guys where I can see what's going on. I get to learn the process, but I don't think I would sign up myself to go take that on, myself, right? Like that is a whole business that I'm running. So that's why I really enjoy the experience so much and really have felt that you two always go above and beyond to create the best experience for everyone. So for people that are, watching this, they're excited, they're in, what next steps should they take? Is there a deadline or a closing date that's coming up that people should know about?
Great question. I mean, if you're wanting to invest, we have some big investors like Matt alluded to earlier that are ready to fill it up. This club, get your commitments in. It's live in fractional. Of course, we'll have the link out for everyone to be able to invest. Get your commitment in. We are closing. We're finishing up due diligence the next week or two. Literally, inspections are happening like as we're live on this podcast. So things are happening. We are moving forward with this project. And closing's coming up sooner than you think. We're closing right now, middle of July. But honestly, the opportunity won't be open that long. More than likely, we'll be full here in the next couple of weeks. So if you're interested, let us know, get your commitment in, and we'll make sure you're in the club.
Well, everyone, you heard it. Make moves now, right? Well, I want to end it with this. I love everything you guys have built, changing lives. That is such an empowering statement. outside of this club, outside of this specific deal, what does that mean for you guys? And we'll close it out there.
Such a great question. I mean, to me, and then we'll let Matt end it. It's just it's what we're all about. I mean, as you can see with our names, we're not super crazy with them. Like integrity, property management. What's important to us? Integrity. What's important to our investing? Changing lives. Like we don't have some crazy thing and some really massive. Like we want. Like we're serious about this. It's our core value above everything else we do. It's why we're great partners, and it's why, I've learned a ton from Matt and why I love partnering with him. Because at the end of the day, he cares about the people. He cares about doing the right thing. And more than anything else, to me, in a partnership, that's the most important thing. And the same way with how we run our clubs. And so to me, changing lives is about being able to impact others. Like we mentioned too before, talking about our tenants. A lot of people don't talk about the tenants in their lives, our investors, our partners, people we work with. And we want to be able to do that by doing the right thing with everybody that we work with.
Really, really good. And that's such a good question, Stella. It really is. And um, it's, I could give you a whole hour on it, but I'll do my best to summarize it because every single thing, when I wake up every single morning, every single thing that I do, that's at the forefront of everything that I do. I am extremely blessed to be living the life that I get to live today. Like I have 50 agents that trust me to serve their families inside of a real estate company. We have like 60 plus doors that we own that people are like that is part of our portfolio. We manage over 400 properties for people in our property management company. Like there's so many things that are just like I never thought I would get to live a life like this. I come from very, very humble beginnings. My high school graduating class had 30 kids. I didn't even have a stoplight. When I got into real estate, I didn't have enough money to pay my electric bill. My wife was on her deathbed in the hospital, a story for another day. But I come from some really humble beginnings and challenging times. And I just know that I'm nothing special. And if I can do it, other people can too. And I get so much joy out of helping other people live the life that they know that they're meant to live. And it's one of those things like people Shawn will make fun of me all the time because I literally will get goosebumps when I'm speaking to people. It happened on this podcast and like the hair on my arm just stands straight up and it's just a sign to me that I know I'm doing what I need to do. And there's no amount of money in the world that can replace that feeling of positively impacting the life of someone else. Like I think that's what we're all here meant to do. And I'm just blessed to be able to do that in many realms and one of them be through a club like this.
Wow. Just hearing you say that, like I feel so moved. Like my eyes are literally watering hearing you say that. So it is absolutely just so incredible what you and Shawn have built. We're so excited to support you. And for everyone tuning in, these are two incredible leaders who are so down to earth, so generous, so methodical with everything that they do. So if you want to be a part of this, go check out the club and we'll see you on the other side. Thanks for tuning in.